Total chaos is unfolding in LA right now as 4 separate fires are tearing through the city, creating some absolutely apocalyptic scenes. Tens of thousands of people have been told to urgently evacuate and head to the coast for safety. You have senior patients being wheeled across smoky streets, beds and wheelchairs filling up a car park in Pasadena, people racing to evacuate their homes but then being forced to abandon their cars due to major traffic jams.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me break it down for you guys, man. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all my supporters, man, who's coming back to the channel each and every single day, watching the videos entirely, man, commenting down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button, man. You guys are helping spreading the word about the Seekers. I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today, man. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Seek the truth.
Or amazing facts that you didn't know. During the winter, if you fill balloons with water and add food coloring, let them freeze and cut the balloon off, you can make giant ice marbles. There's a dog named Faith that was born with no front legs, which has learned to walk on its hind legs. Its owner travels to military hospitals to demonstrate that even a dog with a severe disability can live a full life. There's a 39-year-old chimpanzee named Kanzi that not only knows how to start fires and cook food, but also knows how to make omelets for himself. In 2013, in Belo Horizonte in Brazil, construction workers permanently cemented a truck into the sidewalk after the owner refused to move it. The Canadian Post Office assigned a postal code of HOHOHO to the North Pole, where people can send letters to Santa Claus. In fact, every year about 1 million letters are addressed to Santa Claus, and they respond back in the language in which they were written.
That fact about the dog, bro.
This is why you should never stay awake past 3 a.m. A woman in her early 20s was away from home on a business trip. The night before she was supposed to board her plane, she had trouble sleeping and had this intense fear that someone was staring at her in her room. She was up until 3, tossing and turning until she started to hear whispers. It was a deep voice repeating the words, "I'm coming to get you, I'm coming to get you." But she ignored it and eventually fell asleep. After her plane landed, she was exhausted but drove home anyway. About 30 minutes into her drive, she started hearing the same whispers from the previous night, but she thought it was because she was sleep deprived, so she kept driving. She was almost home when she began to feel sick. Her eyes were watering, her nose was running, and she let out a large sneeze. "Bless you," said the same deep, eerie voice. She quickly pulled into her driveway, hugged her husband, and sat down to tell him what was going on. When this happened,
I can still hear that voice.
Oh, hell no.
Here are some Squid Game details you probably missed. During the six-legged pentathlon, the frontman, aka Player 1, was purposely failing the spinner game, and here's proof. In Season 1, we learned that he's left-handed. He shoots, drinks, and even uses the remote with his left hand. However, during the game, he initially uses his right hand, causing him to miss repeatedly. Then, when time is almost up, he switches back to his left hand and easily completes the challenge. Next, when the cop and crew are searching for the island's secret entrance and the trap door explodes, everyone on the boat reacts except for the captain, because he knew it was a trap all along, foreshadowing his loyalty to the frontman. In Season 1, you were able to see every upcoming game by looking at the drawings on the walls. And in Season 2, 2 new games are actually teased in the background. One drawing resembles monkey bars, while the other drawings look like a chessboard, possibly hinting at a human chess match. And lastly, there's a giant clue that Player 1 from Season 1 is the father of the frontman. So in Season 1, when Player 456 mentions that he doesn't drink regular milk, Player 1 says his son was the same way. And then in Season 2, the frontman offers his milk to Player 222, saying he doesn't drink milk either. Coincidence? Probably not.
these are the crazy...
Bro, I never even noticed those little small details in Squid Games. Season 2, so the old man from the first season was his dad? I didn't know. And those 2 new games that's teased, monkey bars and freaking chess. Squid Game Season 3 about to go crazy. Tell me down below if y'all watch Squid Games.
Craziest things that people have ever survived. This is Roy Sullivan, an American park ranger who lived in Virginia.
Roy lived to be 71 years old, which doesn't sound too crazy until you hear his backstory. From 1942 to 1977, Roy was struck by lightning 7 times and survived each one of them. Miraculously, none of the lightning strikes greatly affected Roy, and by the end of his life, people gave him the nickname the Human Conductor. This is a picture of Julianne Kopka. At the age of 17, Julianne survived a plane crash and fell over 2 miles to the ground. She landed in the Amazon rainforest and survived for 11 days by herself. After fighting to stay alive, Julianne stumbled across a local village that rescued her. Today, Julianne is 66 years old and is alive and well.
This is the smallest country in the world, Sealand? Can that even qualify as a country? If it does, that's freaking a mind-blowing fact to me, man, that a country could be that small. There's no way. That has to be cap, right? This literally just looks like it's floating in sea land. I'm gonna have to look that up. See if there's freaking truth behind that. See that? But they got the passport. Must mean it's true. Sealand, I'm gonna have to look that up, bro. Like I said, I do my own research. Like you guys have to, man, when I watch these clips together with you guys. Trying to confirm things for y'all. You know what this is.
Whatever you do not feel bad for this woman. This woman's name is lovely Kristen Antoinette Johnson, and she had a 6-month-old baby. But one more thing is, she was a severe drug addict, and she would often invite friends over to her house or go to her friends' houses to do drugs. And when she would do this, she would just lock her son up in a car seat and leave him inside the house. And she would place him in the attic where she wouldn't be able to hear him. Well, on this particular occasion, the little baby went 4 days without any food and starved to death. Apparently, the baby had diaper rash so severe his skin was literally falling off. When she found the baby, his body was already decomposing, and she still took him to the ER and got arrested there. And she was sentenced to 20 to 80 years in prison for the murder of her baby.
Just so she can get a high, bro.
She escaped with a second to spare. The drama unfolded at 2 in the morning when the woman arrived home from a long day at work. She says she noticed the stranger lurking outside her building.
So the 50-year-old woman who was seen in that video has to this day still remained unidentified. And on September 23rd, 2021, she was returning home when this man suddenly decided to charge at her. The woman later claimed that she had seen the man and a friend hanging out acting sketchy at the base of her apartments, and that if she hadn't have locked her door the same way that she did and gotten in the nick of time, she still doesn't know what could have happened. I mean, this video is honestly horrifying. I can't imagine someone chasing me to my apartment door and barely being able to lock the door in time to keep them outside. Who knows what this person would have done if they had gotten into the apartment with this woman? It's really frightening. So police at first had no idea who this guy was, but they eventually identified him as 42-year-old Orisha Lucky, and he had 37 prior arrests on his record before that night. 37 different arrests. So after Orisha was arrested, he was charged with attempted burglary, harassment, and criminal trespassing. But it's still, that video is just so frightening, and it really is scary to think of what could have happened if she didn't get the door closed and locked just in time.
A lot of people don't know that Saw is based on a true story, and that the person who committed the crimes that Saw is based on actually contacted the producers after the movie came out and said they liked the interpretation of their work. Here's how it's based on a true story. In the first movie, we have Dr. Gordon and Adam who are locked in the bathroom. Jigsaw has kidnapped Dr. Gordon's wife and daughter. We see the man who has kidnapped Dr. Gordon's family is Zepp. However, we find out at the end of the movie that Zepp is not Jigsaw. Jigsaw is testing Zepp as well. Jigsaw poisoned Zepp and said that if you want to get the antidote to this, you have to do whatever I say, you have to follow through with this test. This was inspired by the events of the real-life serial foot tickler. I'm not kidding, there was a guy that was going around breaking into people's homes and tickling their feet. However, when they finally caught the guy, he said that he wasn't the one responsible, he was being told to do all of this by someone else. But they never did catch the official serial foot tickler. The first Saw movie gets released, and the producers and directors get a letter from someone who is claiming to be the serial foot tickler, saying he recognizes his work when he sees it and that he could definitely see where the inspiration came from with the character of Zepp and Jigsaw. They actually talk about this in the behind-the-scenes documentary on the first Saw movie. Another thing that I'm sure is supposed to be a reference to this in the first Saw movie, Dr. Gordon is tucking in his daughter for bed. He starts like playing with her feet, doing like, oh, this little piggy, whatever. But that whole scene is happening while Zepp is hiding in the closet waiting to kidnap Diana Gordon. I love Saw. Even the stupid crap like this. It all comes back.
There is an eerie...
A serial foot tickler. I've never heard that before till today. I imagine someone if you can bring it into your house tickling your feet. And he wasn't even a mastermind. There's another one above him, bro, that forced him to do that. Maybe he has a foot fetish or something, bro. I don't know.
Ghost town in America that is too dangerous for humans because it's been on fire for over 60 years. The roads leading to it were even covered in dirt to keep people out. But despite this, the town of Centralia still has a population of 4. You see, back in its day, it was a booming coal mining town with thousands living there. But when a fire accidentally spread to the mines underground, it became too large to extinguish. Houses started collapsing, roads began to crack and buckle, dangerous gases started rising into the air, and a 12-year-old child even got sucked into a 150-foot sinkhole. It became so dangerous that the state of Pennsylvania stepped in and offered to buy people's properties off of them so they could leave the town. And because coal seam fires have a massive amount of fuel, it's believed that the fire will continue to burn for another 200 years. But despite the town's zip code being erased off the map, the roads to it being blocked off with mounds of dirt, and even a court order saying that any residents that remain would not be allowed to sell or pass down their homes to anyone, according to a 2020 census, 4 people still remain.
Urban legends that were proven to be real. Part 4. Escalante Petrified Forest. While it is illegal to take anything from Escalante Petrified Forest State Park, there is a legend that says that anyone who takes pieces of petrified wood from the park will be cursed with bad luck, sickness, and even accidents. Park manager Kendall Farnsworth stated in 2014 that he gets about a dozen packages every year containing a piece of wood from the park and an apologetic letter detailing the sender's misfortunes. Follow for next legend.
Hey man, don't take a piece of that wood there, bro. Follow your intuition, man. If anything that even has bad luck, bad energy around me, I'm not even taking that risk. It ain't worth it, bro. I feel like that's karma for stealing as well. Don't take things that don't belong to you. We know what that is.
These are the 4 most haunted dolls in the world. First is the Annabelle doll, which inspired the Conjuring movies, which, as you guys know, is one of the most haunted dolls in the world. She's able to not only move herself, but also move objects, and is supposedly inhabited by an extremely demonic being, forcing her to constantly be in a spirit box. Then have Ruby, which in my opinion is one of the most terrifying due to the fact that it's a porcelain doll, which all of our mothers and grandmothers have. Ruby doesn't do anything crazy, but the scariest part is supposedly the ancestor who had this doll prior passed while holding this doll, and now supposedly inhabits it. And it's a porcelain doll, which makes it absolutely terrifying. Then have Letta, who's a 200-year-old doll found underneath a house in Australia, said to make noises in the night, moved by itself, and the owner has a specific account of when he was moving he heard this doll scream while being in the trunk, screaming, "Let me out. I'm good on everything that." Then you have Robert the doll, who in my opinion is probably the most haunted and cursed doll on this list. Said to be so cursed that if you take a picture or look at him without his permission, he can curse you. And this has happened to multiple people who decided to film Robert without his permission. This doll not only moves by itself, the previous owner has made multiple statements of hearing this doll run inside of the attic. On top of that, the neighbors have seen Robert peeking out the window in the 2nd story, while no one was up there. These dolls, they're scary. This is a scary story about I'm Sorry Mommy. One night, a woman was in the kitchen reading a newspaper when she suddenly looked up and saw her 6-year-old son staring at her. She said, "Something wrong, dear?" "I had a nightmare," said the boy, "and I can't sleep." "Well, don't worry, you're safe now," said the mother. "I dreamed I was in bed and heard a sound in Daddy's room," he said. "And when I looked in the door, I saw 2 big black things with white eyes. It came out of the closet and it attacked Daddy." "Don't worry," said the mother in a soothing voice. "It was just a dream. It didn't really happen." The boy then continued saying they ripped him into pieces and then ate him after. And they even licked the blood off the floor. "I thought if I ran away they wouldn't catch me, but they did. They were going to eat me, but they stopped and said, they wouldn't eat me if I promised to..." "To what?" said the mother. "Promise to distract you while they creep up behind you." "I'm sorry, Mommy," said the boy as the mother heard the floorboards behind her creak.
The boy then watched with enjoyment as his mother was ripped apart piece by piece, with a giant smile on his face.
This man turned
What's
his
wrong
son
with him?
into a doll. This is the real story of Charlie McCarthy. McCarthy was a successful ventriloquist in the 1920s, where he presented his own show. This show amazed people in the United States and was a resounding success, but there was something strange about his dummies, specifically a dummy named Edgar, who was part of the main act of the show. Edgar had a peculiar aspect that made it impossible not to look at him. He had very real hands, a very expressive mouth, very scary eyes, and he was also the Charlie's biggest dummy. Something that made this situation even stranger was that Charlie did not let anyone come close to see his dummy. He was the only one who could touch it and keep it in his chest. But one night after a show, Charlie McCarthy was found lifeless in his dressing room, and next to him was his beloved dummy with a slight smile on his face. When the police examined it, they realized that behind the mask was the lifeless body of a child, who was identified as Charlie McCarthy's son.
This couple was sentenced to more than a decade in prison because their pit bulls took their neighbor's life. In February 2023, police were called to a home in San Antonio because two dogs were on the loose and were attacking an 81-year-old man. When they arrived, the 81-year-old man named Ramon Najera was already basically dead, and his wife was also attacked. It was said that the dog owners Christian Moreno and Albelin Schneider trained these dogs to fight. It was also said by neighbors that these dogs were always getting out of the backyard and attacking people. Whenever they told the owners to lock their dogs up, they would get mad and wouldn't really do anything about it. The pit bulls were previously taken by animal care services because they attacked someone, but then were given back to the couple. So because of this, their defense blamed animal services for returning the dogs to them. Again, people complained for years about these two pit bulls and how dangerous they were, but nothing was ever done until this 81-year-old was killed. This couple showed zero remorse or emotion and didn't even apologize to the family for what happened. They both pleaded guilty, and Abelin was sentenced to 15 years in prison and Christian was sentenced to 18 years.
Responsible dog owners, man. Like I said, it's the nature versus nurture argument. Well, they was teaching them to fight, so of course they would be freaking violent dogs, and look what happened. No remorse too. They deserve everything that happened to them, man.
Question about death in her video, and just a couple of hours later would lose her life. 22-year-old Mari Angel, whose real name was Marina, was an ASMR content creator originally from Ukraine but living in Germany. Mari Angel would not only post her content on YouTube but TikTok as well. On September 8th of 2024, Mari Angel had uploaded a YouTube video and she was responding to questions that people had asked her, and one of those questions was, what do you think happens after death? She never answers, but she just asks the question and just moves on to the next question. On September 10th, just a few days after that video was posted, Marina's sister posted on Instagram that she had passed away. Just a couple of hours after that video was posted, Marina was in the car when a drunk driver hit her and she died at the scene. Many of Marina's viewers saw this as a coincidence, as her last video was asking a question about death, and then just a couple of hours later, she died. Marina's sister wrote a tribute to her and wanted all of her supporters to remember her as always smiling and being happy.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, right.
Is that supposed to be like a from
This
a
was the
Maz
world's
movie?
first experiment that proved the air has weight and it exerts a compressive force on everything around us. It was conducted by a German scientist in 1654, where he created two hollow hemispheres that fit tightly together and then removed all the air from inside through the valve. With the vacuum inside, the hemispheres were held together solely by the surrounding atmospheric pressure, and even 16 horses couldn't pull them apart. However, once the valve was open to let air in, they were easily separated.
Now, if you want to hear a scary myth, this is one that actually turned out to be true. So this was like way back in the day, but there was this infamous funhouse called Laugh in the Dark. Like any other kind of funhouse ride attraction that you would go through, it's supposed to scare you. And the whole thing about it was that it was filled with these creepy mannequins, but there was one mannequin that stuck out to everybody. All this time went by with kids who would go up to this mannequin and something seemed off about it because it was so oddly lifelike. Of course, strange mannequins aside, somebody was going to make a buck off this place. So there was a day when a film crew came in because they were going to shoot a movie. With all these mannequins and everything kind of lying around, they had to move things from one place to another. So the director said, can you pull that mannequin and put it to the side? Only for the arm of the mannequin to snap off and reveal human bone. The entire time that kids and the public had been suspecting there was something off with that mannequin, they were right. It was a real human body being used in the funhouse.
Woo! Hey man, somebody took their job a little bit too seriously. Lifelike, bro. Always beware, man, of those lifelike mannequins. There could be something going on with it, bro.
This is why you should never drink tap water. You will be shocked by the results.
Okay, what we seeing? I remember I used to drink tap. I do not drink tap water anymore. I'd stopped doing that like years ago. Okay.
100x.
See that brown stuff in it?
For 100x.
No. Yup. We seeing this proof right now, 4K, in front of us, but I don't drink tap water, man.
Reviewing every horror movie that I've ever seen and telling you if it's worth the watch. Today I'm talking about The Strangers. Let's get into it. So for starters, I have heard a lot of hype about this movie. A lot of people seem to really like it. They say it's very terrifying, genuinely disturbing. So when I went into it with that mindset, I cannot express how disappointed I really was. Spoiler alert, by the way. The movie features a home invasion of sorts. Starts off with a wedding proposal that goes wrong, aka she didn't say yes, but they stay together in this cabin for the weekend. And these people are just like outside the cabin in the middle of the woods and they won't leave them alone. The whole time I feel like you're waiting for them to get to the point and they never do. It feels like something's coming and it just never does. They finally die in the end, but it's not that interesting. Their reason for killing them is this, just because you were home. There's no other motive, which maybe that's supposed to be scary, but it just isn't. It's lame. I will admit, this shot of Discount Scarecrow looks really good in the movie though. Actually a little scary.
I know I don't check out scary movies, man, but
Total chaos is unfolding in LA right now as 4 separate fires are tearing through the city, creating some absolutely apocalyptic scenes. Tens of thousands of people are being told to urgently evacuate and head to the coast for safety. You have senior patients being wheeled across smoky streets, beds and wheelchairs filling up a car park in Pasadena, people racing to evacuate their homes but then being forced to abandon their cars due to major traffic jams. And then you have bulldozers being forced to clear these cars by smashing them off the road. Passengers leaving LAX posted aerial views of the fire in Pasadena, which CNN report is ripping through an area equivalent to 5 football fields per minute due to strong winds of 60 to 80 miles per hour. Firefighters over the radio say that they're running out of water in some of their hydrants. Looks like we're leaving McDonald's in 2024. And these fires are not discriminating because Hollywood celebrities are being seen fleeing their multi-million-dollar homes as these fires destroy some of the most expensive land and houses in the entire country. As this situation develops, I'll keep you guys updated.
hey man, I heard some theories about how they said, I think this, if it's like a natural fire, or I heard some people talking about how they think somebody like started it because of the way everything was just like burning. It just came out of nowhere, man. Like I said, prayers for LA down below. I'm gonna try to find some more clips for you guys so we can check out what's going on.
McDonald's drive-thru when an argument would turn deadly. 37-year-old Stephanie McCrae was from Daleville, Alabama and had 2 sons. She was also married to 37-year-old Ricky McCrae and they had been married for some time. Their marriage had a lot of happiness and love, but it also had periods of strain and conflict. On July 13th of 2024, the couple was at a McDonald's drive-thru. Stephanie was driving and Ricky was on the passenger side. An argument started between the two, and workers at the McDonald's could hear the argument through the intercom system. As Stephanie reached the pickup window after placing her order, she told the employee to please call the police because her husband had a gun. Ricky, who was in a fit of rage, shot Stephanie 3 times in that drive-thru line, killing her instantly. The gunfire was heard by the employees, and they closed the drive-thru window immediately and fled for their safety. Once Ricky had shot Stephanie, he fled on foot. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses had captured a man fitting the description of Ricky running away from a McDonald's wearing red shorts and a white tank top. Ricky was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. Police say that the two were in an off-again, on-again relationship, and they had just discussed the relationship before the incident. Ricky claims he is not guilty and he was home the whole time and it wasn't him. As of right now, Ricky remains in custody awaiting further court proceedings.
On February 19th of 2013, guests at the Cecil Hotel in downtown Los Angeles were complaining of poor-tasting tap water that was running brown. But when the hotel staff went to the roof to check the water tanks, what they found was horrific. Floating inside the tank were the 2-week-old remains of 21-year-old Elisa Lam. But here's why her death became kind of infamously mysterious. Elisa had been missing for weeks prior, which correlated with this strange and unusual video footage from the hotel elevator, which is believed to be her last known sighting. While inside the elevator, she's seen hiding, then pressing all of the buttons, and then she appears to be speaking to someone who's not there. But even more mysterious is how she even got on the roof in the first place. The roof access point is actually set with an alarm that only hotel staff can get past and disarm using a key card. Her autopsy showed nothing in her system aside from prescription medications, and what's strange is that when search canines were on the roof just days prior looking for her, they had never picked up her scent. The body was also found completely undressed in the water, and her cell phone has never been found. There has never been any evidence of foul play or that she was SA'd, and her death was eventually ruled as accidental due to a psychotic break, but the odd nature of how all of this unfolded has left a lot of unanswered questions for this case.
So they was drinking her remains? Because they said it was
3 times, and she's seemingly now gone missing for good. It was midday on the 16th of December 2008 in southern Manhattan, New York. Some men were working on a ferry deck when they noticed something extremely strange in the water. There was what looked like a woman in the water floating face down. They immediately sprang into action and rescued her from the water. She gasped for air and they were stunned that she was still alive. Her name was Hannah Up. She was a 23-year-old Spanish teacher who'd gone missing 3 weeks prior. They rushed her to hospital where she needed urgent treatment for hypothermia and severe sunburn. She told staff that the last thing she remembered was going out for a run. She was diagnosed with a condition called dissociative fugue. It's defined as a psychological state where a person loses awareness of their identity and engages in some form of unexpected travel. Hannah was obviously frightened by the incident but tried to carry on her life as normal. 5 years later, though, she would suffer the same fate. It was September 2013. She worked as a teaching assistant at that point in Maryland when her phone and purse were found abandoned on a path. Her mum reported her missing, and she remained missing for 2 days when she suddenly remembered who she was while she was in a creek. She went up to a member of the public and asked them if she could use their phone to call her mum. Then the following year, she moved to St. Thomas in the Caribbean. On the 14th of September, she left a note stating that she was off for a swim before going to work, but she never turned up at work. She never called anyone to let them know what she was doing or if her plans had changed, and her clothing and belongings were found just abandoned on a beach. It's now 7 years since she last vanished, but her family refuses to give up hope. So what do you think? Where has she ended up? Is she still alive? Let me know in the comments.
Kids. Imagine living with something like that, man. Dissociative fugue, disease, something like that. So one day you just completely normal, then the next you wake up and you're like 10,000 miles away from your home. It's a hard life to live. Seems like you have to have a lot of loved ones around you, bro. She's gone for 7 years. They never found her. Who knows?
So who are geniuses? Part 1.
Firstly, meet Akrit Jaswal, and by the age of 7, he became the youngest surgeon in the world when he performed a live surgery on a 6-year-old patient successfully. Akrit was also accepted into medical school at the age of 11 and has an IQ of 146. Next, when Kim Eung-kyung was 3 years old, he was able to solve algebra problems, and at the age of 4, he was fluent in 4 different languages. But that's not it, because at the age of 8, he was invited to work for NASA, and at 16 years old, he left NASA, and it said he has an IQ of 210. Finally, these paintings that you see are not done by an adult, but a child. His name is Edmund Thomas Clint, and he created 25,000 paintings in his lifetime until he unfortunately passed away at the young age of just 7 years old. But his artwork will live forever.
I want to talk about
It's the next Picasso, man.
Which is of this woman, Amy, going through the McKamey Manor haunted house. Because while the video is bad, there's one specific part that I think people really need to know about. So some background for people that aren't familiar, McKamey Manor is a haunted house run by Russ McKamey, and it's essentially just a torture chamber. People who go to this haunted house have teeth ripped out without Novocaine, they get buried alive, they even have to eat their own throw up. It's horrible. And recently, the owner, Russ, was just arrested for attempting to kill a woman twice, which I covered in the most recent episode of my podcast, Heart Starts Pounding. But while I was doing research for that episode, I came upon this video of Amy going through the experience. And the whole thing was recorded and put up on the internet, except for one part, and that's the part I want to talk about. During the experience, Amy's told that 2 brothers are going to come rough her up, but then the screen goes black and it just says, "I cannot show you what takes place," referring to what happened to Amy when the brothers showed up. And the next time we see Amy, she's sitting in this freezer and her spirit looks completely broken, like something bad just happened, but we weren't able to see what occurred. Amy later did an interview saying that when the brothers showed up, she was actually tortured really badly and used the safe word, but was not allowed to end the experience. And that to me is the worst part of McKamey Manor, because even though McKamey Manor is just torture, they say that there's a safe word you can use to end the experience. But as I was doing research for this episode, I kept coming across stories of people who said they used the safe word and were not allowed to stop. They had to keep going. I get more into it in this episode, which I think is worth listening to if you're curious about McKamey Manor and what actually happens there. But yeah, I would say if you're interested in going to this place, you absolutely shouldn't, especially if you're a woman.
I ain't going. I heard what took place there, man. The owner, you got up out of there, bro. Like you said, it's just one essential torture chamber. I ain't into that at all.
A 23-year-old Florida woman was posing as a 14-year-old girl to meet up with little boys. This is 23-year-old Alyssa Ann Zinger. She was first arrested in November for at least 30 acts with a middle school boy, and then sending explicit Snapchats to many more middle schoolers. Her persona was a 14-year-old homeschooled girl. She communicated with all of her victims through Snapchat. She got hit with a ton of charges, mainly CP charges, and that's on top of assault charges. Interestingly enough, her and the victim that she was with got caught shoplifting at Nordstrom in July. She lied to the police about her identity. She was born in 2001. She said she was born in 2009 to them, but they had been investigating her for over a year now. They found out she had been lying after reviewing her school and employment records and contacted her employer at Publix in Tampa. Then, 3 months later after that, a victim came forward about Alyssa Zinger's crimes. If convicted, she faces 146 years, so basically life in prison. And I believe she has 7 different charges against her with 12 counts. If you're from Tampa, let me know if you heard about this. I'm from Tampa, I'm just hearing about this. I believe she was arrested last week, so makes sense. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
She gone. I don't know how people was falling that she was a 14-year-old. People can fake anything nowadays, man. It's scary, bro. Social media needs a filter, bro. Especially for young people. You know who they talking to.
Now this video has got the internet going crazy because a guy in Melbourne, Australia is quite literally claiming that his dog was playing with a ghost. And after watching this, I bloody believe him. Now he insists that his backyard is fully secured and locked by a high fence where there is no way for another dog to get in. He also said that he ran outside to check if he hadn't lost the plot and that the ghost dog was nowhere to be seen. And if this video hasn't got you contemplating life, another video which has scarred me for life is this bastard. Now keep your eyes on the collar of the black dog on the right. So as you can see, the 2 dogs are just barking barking and barking, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, for some reason, they just go completely quiet. A few seconds later, the black dog then randomly jerks backwards into the side of the crate, and its collar comes off of its own accord.
Is that a net at the end? Oh, man, they're
This
in
woman
Ghost
was caught
Town.
on camera doing something deeply disturbing to win a chess match. Earlier this year, Russian pro chess player Amina Abakarova apparently needed a way to knock her opponent out of a tournament. So she decided to go to the extreme and poison the woman, 30-year-old Ume Osmanova, in what's being treated as an assassination attempt. Amina poured mercury from a thermometer onto the victim's chessboard before her next match and smeared it all over her side of the board with one of the pieces. Osmanova said she began feeling unwell during her match 30 minutes later, complaining of sudden severe nausea and dizziness, prompting an immediate call for medical assistance. After the security footage was reviewed by authorities, Amina had no choice but to confess to the murder attempt. Osmanova ended up making a full recovery, as the attacker was banned from future chess competitions and stripped of her previous titles. Abakarova now potentially faces several years in Russian prison for the senseless attack.
Disturbing fact. All over a chess match, man. Because you wanted to win, you couldn't do it the fair way, so you just had to go and cheat in order to win that match, man. People just don't know how to take their L's, bro. You gotta learn how to take L's in life, man. Everybody gotta go through it. It's part of going on.
Acts that will ruin your life. Coconuts kill more people than sharks every year. Same with cows. Vending machines are actually twice as likely to kill you than a shark is. France was still executing people via guillotine when the first Star Wars film came out. There are more fake flamingos in the world than real ones. There are more tigers in Texas than the rest of the world. There's enough iron in your body to make a 3-inch nail. Beethoven and George Washington were alive at the same time. In fact, George Washington was in his 40s when Beethoven was born. There are more stars in space than there are grains of sand on every beach on Earth. It rains diamonds on Saturn and Jupiter. A buttload is an actual unit of measurement, equivalent to 126 gallons. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
We learning. Especially about the more tigers in Texas than they are in
This
the rest
is
of
a
the
true
world.
horrifying story of a haunted house in Jumeirah 1. This story was submitted by a family, a mom, a dad, and 3 daughters. The story happened in 2016. Jumeirah 1 is an old area in Dubai. Many houses there are old, though they are very expensive, since they're just a 5-minute walk from the beach. This family moved in a new house with a 1-year lease contract. After organizing furniture, they moved in and the 3 daughters picked the rooms they wanted. On the 3rd night, the youngest daughter, age 10, came to her sisters crying, saying she doesn't want to sleep in her room anymore. When they asked her why, she didn't want to speak. She then slept with them in another room that night. On the 4th night, she comes back at 1 a.m. crying again, but this time she seemed petrified. She was shivering, begging not to sleep in her bedroom. One of the sisters gets up and walks towards her room. She bends over to get a peek, while the 2 other sisters were staring at her from behind. This sister got paralyzed from waist up. She wanted to scream for help, but she was not able to move a muscle. And her sisters behind her didn't know that she was struggling. She was frozen in her spot. She fell down a few seconds later, and she runs to wake up her parents. She was shouting intensely, explaining what just happened. The father gets up and gently goes inside that bedroom, as if someone in there was calling him. He goes in and shockingly closes the door behind him. It was a terrifying moment of silence, as the whole family waited for the father outside that door. A minute felt like an hour. He comes out with an agitated face and says, "All of you should leave this house now." The mother knew exactly what her husband was going through. She acted normal. She took her daughters and left the house. Never try fixing a situation like this if you're angry. This is the latest update. The father is fine. The daughters are okay. The whole family is safe and happy in a new home. But just to show you how haunted this house is, in 2018, the landlord decided to demolish and rebuild this house. They were 2 weeks behind schedule.
because 13 deconstructing equipment were damaged during the process.
13? The house has some bad energy to it. That's why they had to leave, man. I would have been deuces. I'm out, bro. I can't. I don't do no haunted houses, man. With spirits and stuff. Keep that energy away from me. I don't need none of that in my life. Where I'm at right now, where I'm trying to go.
Broke up with her, so she sprayed him with acid. This is 29-year-old Mark Van Dongen. He attended the University of Bristol, and once he graduated, he started working as an engineer. In 2010, Mark joined a dating website, and there he met Berlina Wallace, who was 20 years older than him, and they started a relationship. In 2015, Mark ended the relationship with Berlina. She was physically abusing him, and it was getting way out of hand. Mark had scratches all over his body from Berlina, and even one night when he was asleep, she poured boiling water all over him. In addition to that, Berlina would purposely harm herself to blackmail Mark, and she told him that if he were to ever leave her, she would go straight to the police and tell them that her injuries were caused by Mark. Once the breakup between Mark and Berlina was official, he moved on with his life and even met another girl, but Berlina was not able to let him go that easily. The next month, Mark contacted the police that his ex-girlfriend was harassing him and his partner, and not only that, but she was threatening to take her own life if he would not get back together with her. Although police contacted Berlina about her behavior, this did not stop her, and at this point, Mark was telling his father that he was scared for his life. On September 22nd, Mark would make a 911 call, and his screams would wake up his whole neighborhood. Those neighbors looked outside, and they could see Mark running and screaming in his underwear, and they thought this was some kind of joke, but it wasn't. As those neighbors got closer to Mark to find out what was going on, they realized that his skin was melting. The night before, Mark ended up visiting Berlina in her apartment to tell her that the relationship was over, and for some reason, he ended up spending the night. While Mark was asleep, Berlina got up, she went to the kitchen and poured sulfuric acid into a cup. She took that cup to the bedroom where Mark was sleeping. She woke him up and started laughing and said, "If I can't have you, then no one can." Berlina then threw the cup in Mark's face. Once police and paramedics arrived at the scene, Mark was found in a horrible state. Mark was foaming through his mouth, and he had some serious burns on his face, chest, arms, shoulders, and legs. Mark was taken in an ambulance to the emergency room, and while he was talking to the paramedics, he told them that he couldn't see, and when they checked his eyes, they noticed that one of his irises had dissolved. Mark was able to tell authorities that his ex-girlfriend Berlina caused all of this, so when they went to arrest her in her apartment, she was just sitting quietly on her couch. Mark was in intensive care for months, and he could only breathe with a ventilator. As time went on, Mark was not doing so well, and he felt like the only way for him to be relieved from this pain was for them to just end his life. On January 2nd of 2017, Mark spent his last moments with his father, and as requested, he stopped breathing that same night. As for Berlina, she was acquitted of murder and manslaughter, and she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 12 years.
This husband was
Toxic
on TV
relationships.
waiting for his wife to come home, but was she ever really missing at all? On November 2nd, 2016, 39-year-old Sherry Papini sent her husband Keith a text message asking if he would be home for lunch. Keith responded by saying no, and that was it. Later that day, Keith arrived home and was surprised to find it empty. His wife Sherry was nowhere to be found. He then immediately began to track down Sherry's cell phone, and it actually pinged less than a mile away from the family's home. Keith immediately ran to this location, and that's when he found Sherry's cell phone, her earbuds, and strands of her hair. He immediately reported his wife as missing, and the search for Sherry began. Now this search was intense. Detectives spoke to so many people, and the media picked up on the case right away. Everyone's main theory was that Sherry had been abducted. Weeks passed without any answers until November 24th, 2016. This is when Sherry was found on the side of the road. People just couldn't believe that Sherry had been found and that she had been found alive. Everyone was just so happy to have Sherry back. However, that happiness was short-lived because the truth of what happened to Sherry was eventually revealed. This true crime documentary series follows a 6-year journey from Sherry's disappearance to her discovery to finding the truth and all the effects it had on communities across the country. If you want to hear more about this shocking story, make sure to check out Perfect Wife, The Mysterious Disappearance of Sherry Papini, out on Hulu June 20th.
Should I check that out?
On July 6, 1999, a group of soldiers who were stationed at Fort Campbell Army Base in Kentucky drove to downtown Nashville to go to a transgender club/bar called The Connection. One of the soldiers, 21-year-old Barry Winchell, met a transgender dancer, California Adams, at the club. The two hit it off, exchanged numbers, and started dating. One of the soldiers, Justin Fisher, started gossiping with other soldiers that Barry was dating a transgender woman. With this information, the soldiers were taunting, teasing, and calling Barry derogatory and vulgar names. Barry reported this to his superiors, but they basically just brushed it off. By the 4th of July weekend, Barry was just getting fed up with everything. Barry and another soldier named Calvin Glover end up getting into a physical altercation. Barry ends up winning that altercation, and the other soldiers are now making fun of Calvin for losing the fight, and he knew that he had something to prove to those soldiers. Calvin went to Justin's locker and retrieved a baseball bat, and while Barry was asleep, he struck him in the head and neck multiple times. Barry was transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, Tennessee, where he died from massive head injuries. Calvin was arrested and accepted a plea deal for murder. Calvin claimed that he didn't mean to unalive Barry, that he must have just been too drunk. Justin was also arrested and sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison. As for Calvin, he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Justin was released on October of 2006, and Calvin was released on parole on August 27th of 2020.
So they both got out? Doing something like that? You know that's wrong, because we in the year 2025, man. We made it. Trying to thrive, too.
This teacher had with her 15-year-old student, who was the year 2003, and Karen Louise Ellis was a 36-year-old mother of 3 living in Melbourne, Australia with her husband, Stephen. She was a PE teacher at her local high school, and her husband would have to travel a lot for work, which meant that she would often be left home alone with the children. To the outside world, Karen's life seemed perfect. However, she claims that things weren't perfect and that she was actually very lonely. She didn't like that her husband had to travel so much for work, she felt neglected, and she was seeking some type of attention. Unfortunately, she decided that the person that was going to give her this affection and this type of attention was her 15-year-old student, Ben. Ben was one of her PE students, and the two of them would spend a lot of time together on the basketball courts. Ben would make some flirtatious comments towards Karen, and Karen enjoyed the attention. Now, it's not uncommon for students to have a crush on their teachers. Like, it's somewhat normal, but it's what those teachers do with that attention and with those crushes that matters. Instead of putting a stop to this flirting, Karen flirted back. Got to the point where Karen was actually looking forward to go to work, not because she enjoyed teaching or wanted to do her job, but because she looked forward to seeing Ben. She said that Ben wasn't like other 15-year-old boys, that he wasn't on his skateboard, he wasn't giggling, he wasn't acting stupid, that he was actually very mature for his age, and that sometimes he was even more mature than she was. At first, they were only flirting with each other, but then things escalated. One day, while they were on the basketball courts, Ben leaned in for a kiss, and Karen accepted. From there, the two of them would meet at the basketball courts, drive over to Karen's home, and then there they would have. According to phone records, Karen sent Ben almost 500 text messages, and the two of them exchanged about 123 voice messages. So this was very intense. This went on for the next 6 weeks until they were finally caught. Now, the way that they were caught was that one day while they were doing their usual routine of meeting on the basketball courts and then heading over to Karen's home, Ben's mother actually spotted them leaving. And she said that this didn't look like a teacher doing a favor by driving her student home, that they looked like they were husband and wife. The whole situation just felt off, so Ben's mom decided to call the police and report Karen's abuse. Karen was taken into police custody, and what she told police was shocking. Okay, go to part 2.
The FBI is convinced that this man's strange coded letter could be the key to solving his murder. Ricky McCormick was born on June 14th of 1958, and from the time he was very young, his family believed that he had some mental disabilities. He would work with therapists, and the therapist would say that it was almost like he had a brick wall in his head that he just couldn't get through. Ricky would drop out of high school, and when he did drop out of high school, he could barely read or write. His family said that he would often scribble, but that it wasn't like coherent scribbling. His cousin also said that talking to him was like he was in another world, and many people believe that he might have suffered from schizophrenia. Ricky would work odd jobs here and there, just whatever he could find, and he also lived off his disability checks because of his heart issues, and that's essentially how he made money. But in 1992, he got into some legal trouble because it came to light that he had 2 children with a girl that was 14 years old. He would spend 13 months in prison out of his 4-year sentence and then be released from jail. But even after getting out, he was still plagued with troubles. He started working a graveyard shift at this Amoco station in St. Louis. 2 brothers owned this Amoco station, and it was Juma and Bala Hamdallah, and I'm very sorry, I probably said those names wrong, but they were the 2 brothers that owned this Amoco station, and they were known to be not very nice. And Ricky's behavior started getting very strange when he worked for these 2 men. He would often make mysterious trips to Florida. Now, Ricky was seeing a girl while he was at this Amoco station, and she said that she really believed that Ricky was smuggling illegal substances to Florida for the 2 brothers. She also said that Ricky would act very scared around this situation, like he was scared of something. But things would only get worse in 1999. Between June 22nd and June 25th, Ricky would go to 2 hospitals. One turned him away and the other did treat him. He was having chest pains and was just acting erratically. Then on June 27th of 1999, Ricky was last seen at the Amoco station where he worked, and then he just disappears. We'll get into more in part 2 along with his mysterious notes. It'll be linked down.
TikTok account are related. I'll be quick. Mother and daughter Katie and Ava Baldwin went missing from Texas in 2015. Viewers of the account Bebop and BB have been concerned of the welfare of the pair. There are similarities of the people in these images. Ava's father has been searching ever since she disappeared in 2015. The only trace they had was the mom's car, which was abandoned in a car park. Viewers have noticed locks, speakers, and help signals during the TikTokers' videos. The unknown whereabouts of the missing persons case and the unknown emergence of these TikTokers certainly relate. But the age of the girl, Ava, would now be 13, and I'm not sure if the girl in the TikTok is too young for that age. The mum certainly looks younger in the TikTok videos, but this could be makeup and video quality. What do you think about this situation?
What do we think, man? Too many coincidences?
Caution to the photo that you are about to see. This was captured on the Ring doorbell of Jessica Gerald on a 2014 morning around 3 a.m. It is the only shot that we have of the man who broke into her home. For context, this is a small town right outside of Omaha, Nebraska. Like, bad things don't happen here, or so everyone thought. Unprovoked and completely without motive, the man was seen on camera around 3, and then he uses a glass scoring tool where he very quietly makes a hole in the window and then enters through the living room. So the following morning, Jessica Gerald, she doesn't go into work, so her family is contacted, and they go to her home, where she is found without her head or her tongue. Media investigation was launched where the footage was eventually recovered. The man seen here had also posed her body without the head sitting up at her kitchen table.
How did that demonic smile? What the hell was going on? Crazy, man.
This 14-year-old boy could be in extreme danger according to police. Scotty Morris was last seen on March 16th around 8:30 p.m. He lives in Eaton, Indiana, a town of just 1,500 people. It's been reported that there was a conflict in the home prior to his disappearance. Police posted this photo of the boy on Facebook because it was the only one they were given, and people quickly became outraged because what was written on the shirt. It's a number of humiliating things like "I'm a liar" with a crying emoji and "I hurt my little brother" or something like that, and obviously Scotty's upset. This is apparently the last photo that was taken of him, and this is what he was last seen in. And police say Scotty could be in danger because the night he disappeared, the temperature dropped to 15 degrees. And he's been missing for about 5 days. It really seems like everyone in Eaton is looking for Scotty right now.
I think that's a case of discipline, man, taken too far. You gotta see the sadness in his face, man, when he had all those things written on his shirt. I mean, maybe there could have been a different way to handle that situation, but it's like, it seems they just embarrassed him and he just ran away. we're gonna have to dive deeper into that, man. Hopefully they found him. What'd she do?
Nor does she deserve a day of freedom. Hi, my name is Ethan, and here's everything you need to know in under a minute. This was 33-year-old Deborah Janelle Jeter, who is married to Lester. In May of 2009, he filed for divorce and told the judge that he feared for his children's safety as Deborah was very mentally unstable. Not long prior, she had tried to unalive herself in front of her daughters. Despite Lester's plea, the judge actually lifted the restraining order, and 12-year-old Kelsey and 13-year-old Kirsten were so excited to see their mother after 14 long days.
No
Deborah
way.
actually told them that she had a surprise for them whenever they got to see her. When they got into the car, Deborah stabbed both of them, unaliving Kelsey and leaving Kirsten in critical condition. She then made the famous "I just unalived my children" 911 call and was sentenced to life in prison.
Famous call? That means people heard it? What the hell did she say on that call?
This is the craziest conspiracy theory. On June 3rd, 3-year-old Riker Webb went missing. His parents didn't report him missing right away. It took them over 2 hours to do so.
Weird.
Now, it was a miracle because 2 days later, he was found. But he was found in different clothes that he was reported missing in. Not only that, but he was found 2.4 miles away from his home. Now, don't come for me, this is not my conspiracy theory. But a lot of people think that this is not Riker. I mean, his face shape is completely different, his eyes are closer together. If this is not Riker, then who is it? I was looking at the comments and someone else believes that this is actually a skinwalker.
What?
They believe that Riker was killed and then a skinwalker took on his appearance. I don't know, but that was the conspiracy theory. It blew my mind. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, what conspiracy theory should I talk about next?
We've heard about skinwalkers on the channel, but do you guys think that could have
Hey
been
y'all,
one?
let's talk about the dead woman who solved her own murder.
Come again?
This right here is Teresita Basa. She came to America from the Philippines in the 1960s. She wanted a better life for herself in America. She moved to Chicago. She began studying music at first, and then she eventually became a respiratory therapist.
Okay.
Although things were going good for Teresita, her life was cut short by a killer. On February 21st, 1977, the fire department was called to Teresita's apartment because of the smell of smoke. That's when they made the awful discovery. Teresita was found deceased and nude and found under her mattress with a knife in her chest. For months, the police were looking for Teresita's killer. 6 months after her murder, an unlikely witness came forward. Dr. Chua, who worked with Teresita, came forward to the police and said that his wife was having visions of Teresita. One day when his wife was in a trance, she told him that she was Teresita Basa and that she knew who murdered her. So when he asked her who murdered you, she said Alan Showery.
What?
Alan Showery also worked with Teresita. When the police gathered all this information, they confronted Alan with this. At first, Alan denied any involvement in Teresita's murder, but later he confessed. Now this is the thing, Alan was served 14 years in prison, but he was let out on parole in 1983. Yes, I must admit, it is scary that her ghost revealed who her killer was, but at the same time, you know, it's sad that she didn't get the justice that she deserved. Alright y'all, I'll be back to do more true crime videos for you guys.
That was one of the most weirdest and bizarre cases we've come across yet, man. Like, a ghost was, like, communicated what happened to her in the afterlife. Like, what the hell? I've never heard something like that until today. Do you guys think that case? I mean, it had to be true, right? Because, yeah, they caught him, but he only did that much time in jail. It just, like, blows my mind, man. These cases we be discovering. Tap in with us, man.
Scary Unsolved Cases, Part 1. In 1970, a mysterious woman was found burned to death in Ice Valley, Norway. We don't know who she is, and it looked like whoever killed her didn't want us to find out. All of the tags were cut out of her clothes and belongings, and any distinctive marks were scraped off. What's also weird is that police found a number of disguises like wigs and various passports with her, and a letter that was written in code. So people assume maybe she was a secret spy. If you want to learn more about this case, I just covered it in my YouTube video, link in bio.
Was she a spy? Something undercover? We gotta find out.
Do you think this boy's tragic death was a murder? And was it part of a larger cover-up? This is the tragic story of Grant Solomon. In July of 2020, Grant Solomon passed away after his truck rolled over him. But surprisingly, Grant's body didn't have any scratches on it. According to Grant's father, who is the only witness, Grant's truck rolled backwards and dragged him down into a ditch. But when at the hospital, Grant's father refused to have an autopsy done and then later on refused to have the truck looked at to see if it was malfunctioning.
Weird.
It seemed like he was trying to wrap up the investigation as quickly as possible. This started setting off red flags for people, especially Grant's mother, because all of this happened before she even got to the hospital. And then, less than a year later, Grant's sister Gracie releases a bombshell YouTube video claiming that her father had been abusing her entire life. She believes that her father killed Grant because he was planning on coming forward with allegations against his father. And there's a lot of evidence to back her up. Grant's truck was not malfunctioning, and the medical examiner ruled that Grant's injuries were not consistent with being dragged by a truck. Instead, the major injury that he had was blunt force trauma to the head. Grant's father still walks as a free man. But right now, there's a petition that you can sign to help the family open an independent investigation into his death. It seems like everyone's talking about this case right now, so hopefully we can enact some real change.
How the hell was he still walking feet? Nah, that signature probably already passed that mark. No way. She don't want seeing this? Like some dolls are following her around? Like a creepy movie or show.
21 severed human feet in trainers have washed up on Canadian and US shores.
What the hell?
1 foot in a trainer washing up on a beach would be strange. But over the past decade, 21 feet have washed up on the shores of the Salish Sea. This started in 2007 when a girl found an Adidas trainer washed up on the beach. On closer inspection and to her horror, she discovered that there was actually a foot inside. This was a decayed male right foot. Bizarrely, 6 days later, another foot enclosed in a trainer was discovered. Again, this was a male right foot.
Again.
Over the next year, 5 more feet in trainers washed up. Now, most of these were oddly similar, usually size 11 or 12 right foots, but occasionally left. Members of the public were terrified of a potential serial killer on the loose with a strange calling card, removing the feet of victims and dumping them in the sea. However, investigators reported that many of the feet belonged to people who had gone missing, presumed dead or had unalived themselves. Researchers concluded that when the bodies were decomposing in the water, creatures in the sea would feed on them. These creatures typically would only feed on the parts of the body with softer tissue, hence leaving the feet. However, to me, it does seem really odd how much it happens in this particular area, as well as how similar all the trainers look.
Is there some more to that story, or those are just tragic endings?
20-year-old Vanessa Guillen and how she was found murdered inside the military base of Fort Hood, Texas. Vanessa was born on September 30th, 1999 in Houston, Texas to her parents Rogelio and Gloria Guillen, who are originally from Mexico. Growing up, Vanessa told her mom that she either wanted to become an astronaut and go to the moon, or she wanted to enlist in the military. Gloria was not a fan of this. She actually told Vanessa that she would rather her go to the moon than to ever enroll in the military. However, when Vanessa turned 18 years old, she called her mom and said, "Do you remember what I was going to do when I turned 18? Well, I did it. I enrolled in the military." Of course, this was shocking news to the family, but they wanted to be supportive, and when they found out that Vanessa was going to be stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, which was about 3 hours away from Houston, they felt relieved knowing that she was only going to be 3 hours away. Now, while at Fort Hood, she was trained as a 91F small arms and artillery repairer, so kind of like a mechanic. And at first, things seemed to be going well. During this time, Vanessa was actually engaged to a man named Juan Cruz, and they had planned their wedding to be in December of that year. Vanessa was so excited about the wedding, she was so happy to be in the military, but over time, the family started to notice that Vanessa was acting different. She wasn't sleeping, she was losing weight, and something just seemed off. Vanessa told her family that the reason she was so stressed out was because she was being sexually harassed by a sergeant at the base. As soon as Gloria heard this, she told her daughter to immediately report this man, but Vanessa said no. That other girls had already reported him and nothing was done about it. So she figured if she reported him, no one would believe her. She was also scared that if she came forward, there would be some type of retaliation against her. Maybe she would get kicked off the base or something worse would happen. On April 22nd, 2020, Vanessa was actually supposed to have the day off, but that day she received a message from work asking her to come in. She only had a couple of things to do that day, so she thought she was just gonna have like a half day, so she made plans with her friend Tay to go hiking later on. One of the tasks she had that day was to go to the arms room and get a serial number for one of the weapons. Vanessa made her way to the arms room and she texted the armor specialist, Aaron Robinson, letting him know that she was on her way. Around 10:23 in the morning, Vanessa sent a text message to one of her co-workers with the serial number of the weapon. And at around 11:13 a.m., Aaron Robinson closed the arms room. Now the morning continued and Vanessa was supposed to meet up with her friend Tay to go hiking, but she never showed up. Tay started calling Vanessa, sending her text messages, but she didn't answer. Meanwhile, Vanessa's family back in Houston was just as concerned. She hadn't responded to anybody. She hadn't responded to her fiance, to her sisters, to her mom, no one. Vanessa's sisters, Myra and Lupe, decided to call the base and ask for Vanessa. However, that's when the base told them that no one had seen or spoken to Vanessa since lunchtime. Family knew something was wrong, so that's when Myra, one of Vanessa's sisters, and her fiance Juan decided to get in the car and drive to Fort Hood. Meanwhile, back at the base, Vanessa's friend Tay is still looking for her. He went to Vanessa's apartment, but she wasn't there. However, her car was in the parking lot, so where was Vanessa? Okay, more in part 2. Can you see me breathing?
Those part 2s always get us, man. What the fuck? You believe that? I think that's an edit. That was an edit. Call it like I see it.
Creepy facts you didn't know about. If you felt that you have been in that place before but never been, it is because you have been there in your past life. Don't sing at 3 a.m. Someone with a deep voice will join you. If you're getting married in your dreams, wake up. You're getting married to a demon.
Really? I never heard that one before.
Can I help you?
How you doing? I don't mean to knock on your door, but I just got shorted by my girl. You know what I'm saying? I ain't no snitch. She playing. It's okay. No. It's okay. It's okay. I ain't no snitch. I don't mean to bother nobody. But I would down on my truth. Be respecting a black queen, a black woman. Put hands on me.
What the hell's going
It's all good. And guess what? Cops come through, they will shoot me, thinking that I'm on the wrong. But I ain't on the wrong. I couldn't put hands on me. I ain't even do nothing. It's all good.
Like I said, that rope in his hands, he was, after some of the way he was talking, it was kind of erratic. I don't know what was going on in that situation, but it doesn't seem like it ended well, man. There's a people, we gotta be better. What the hell was that rope in his hand, man? It's like, and he got caught on 4K, so whatever happened, man, it's all caught in that man Ring's camera. People don't think.
Police say they know the exact area where the baby's body is. They have their suspect, his mother, but they still aren't ready to make an arrest. The recovery and heartbreaking search of a 1-year-old baby is happening.
We believe that he was placed in a specific dumpster at a specific location, and it was brought here by regular means of disposal.
The words no one wanted to hear, disposal, and all eyes are still on his mother, Leilani Simon. Last publicly seen running out of a juvenile courthouse following a custody hearing for her other 2 children who are around 6 months and 3 years old. The mother being pursued as the primary suspect, a drastic change from 2 weeks ago when she called the police.
Plaintiff as her 1-year-old son is missing. She woke up, her door was open, but he's unable to open the door. I think someone came in and took him.
Police and FBI specialists from Quantico are now going through trash in the landfill to find the one place they think he is.
Man.
It's reported that Quinton Simon's mother downed tequila shots at Tybee Island Beach Bar as FBI launched landfill search. Adding to the tragedy, Quinton's grandfather, Henry Dale Moss Sr., was found dead at Wednesday morning on the side of a road in Georgia. Police believe he was the victim of a hit and run that occurred after he got a flat tire and began walking home.
Man. It's like tragedy just following that family. One after another.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer, you. I'm crazy, all for the love. Now, you can pause to read this yourself. I'm not going to leave.
Okay, woke up this morning and heard through Justin that Ken is planning to sue me for defamation.
What?
And to be honest, I know that it won't hold up. I didn't defame Ken. I know a lot more about defamation now than I did before. And I didn't defame Ken. But Ken is starting to freak me out a little bit. I will say that. Also, Ken, you want to talk about riding on coattails? I'm not even going to double click on that because literally that's what you were doing with your content. You were riding on the coattails of people who tragically died. One thing that's actually going to make your lawyer's life a little bit harder is the fact that I actually can't have my email in my bio anymore because you and your friends have mass reported my account so much that it has a community guideline violation. So if your lawyer needs me or anyone else needs me, it's meredithcollapse@gmail.com.
Yeah, sue her for defamation, man. It's always, man, it's when you're trying to seek the truth or spread it, man. If people, they don't like it, they're always trying to find a way to take it down. See, because why is that? Why do you think that happens, man? I need y'all guys' thoughts and theories down below.
Drake Kendrick beef is just now popping off again, but this shit stems back years. In 2011, Drake was already huge, a 5-time Grammy nominee, but also winning a Grammy for the best rap album, Take Care. Meanwhile, in 2011, a man named Kendrick Lamar from Compton, California, had yet to release even a single studio album, let alone any Grammys. But we're gonna fast forward to June 16th, 2011, the first time Kendrick Lamar had hopped onto a Toronto stage. And when Drake had initially heard that Kendrick was gonna be sliding through the 6, he hit up Kendrick and said, "Yo, we should link." And according to Kendrick, that link up went pretty well, because in a Double XL freshman freestyle interview, he said, "That's a real good dude. It's like he got a genuine soul. We clicked immediately." And it would also be during that very first link up that Kendrick would give Drake an unreleased version of the Section 80 album. At this point, it had been a couple months, and Drake had some time to really digest the album, and Drake was completely blown away. Drake was so blown away by this album that he would ask Kendrick Lamar to join him and A$AP Rocky on his Club Paradise tour. Constantly being around that much talent must have really sparked something in Kendrick, because just 1 year later, he released one of probably the greatest rap albums of all time, Good Kid, Mad City. Nearly a year after Kendrick had dropped Good Kid, Mad City, he started seeing the commercial success of a fantastic album. But it's around this time that Kendrick Lamar hops on the Breakfast Club to do an interview, and the inception of the beef between Drake and Kendrick begins.
Yeah, I'm tired.
This beef between Drake and Kendrick, man, it's freaking crazy how, like, it really spawns that far back, and you really have to go back in the past to, like, see where, I guess, it first started. These Drake TikToks, man, we checking out. It's gonna reveal some stuff, I think.
Yep. But this is where we're at as of today. Today meaning March 6th at 1:41 p.m. Which means, who knows, a lot could happen. As you know, things are happening fast, but I think we may have just seen the end of it.
Ooh.
I don't know, though. What do you think?
Drake just dropped another disc. What is the album cover and why do they keep posting on YouTube? We go to a page called Blushed by Wit.
Okay.
Whitney is Kendrick Lamar's baby mother, wife, whatever you want to call it. Well, you hop into the comments and you see the very, very, very first comment is by Dave Free and it's liked by the author. It's a heart of the kid. Which is why Drake said, I heard that one of them little kids might be Dave Free. Dave Free is Kendrick's lifelong friend and GM. That's why Drake then follows that by saying, yo, GM might be your BM secret BD. Your GM, general manager, might be your baby mother's secret baby dad. Which led me to a different rabbit question. Why do they keep posting on YouTube? Why don't they just post on Spotify? You see, if they keep posting on YouTube, they make way more money. Which actually makes a lot more sense in Kendrick's case. If it is true, drop it, give me 50. He's giving 50% of all of his music back to the label, meaning he's not making as much money as he should be. But if he is owning his own YouTube channel, he may be monetizing off that, making more money. And the long run. Now it's just getting real personal, but I'm really waiting, hoping for Kendrick to drop some facts, some receipts, like Drake said in his most recent one. I don't know. Kendrick and Drake.
They dropping, you know, Kendrick and Drake kept dropping on YouTube, man. I just heard actually a couple of things about how, like, Kendrick, you know, usually when you react to stuff, music, it gets copyrighted, but he lifted his copyrights, man. So people, they eating off that Kendrick and Drake beef, bro. But now I kind of get the Day Free bar, because at first I didn't understand it. That's why I said we watch these videos with you guys, we learning.
Beef has went too far, and everybody watching can see that. Not only are people taking this shit way too serious and losing friendships over it when they don't even know them, but also Cash XO's security guard and Drake's security guard both were shot in real life. This was never a fun rap battle for the fans to enjoy. These are two black men destroying each other's legacies in real time. Not Like Us is a great song, I've been playing it all day, but let's be real, you're really using pedo allegations as shock value for a hit song? I get that it's hip hop, but how far is it gonna go before we ask for this to stop? Because today, new evidence came out on Kendrick Lamar where a woman came out and said she literally seen Kendrick Lamar beat his wife in real time. She said they were at the Hard Rock Hotel. She seen a woman with a bloody face and they only told her it was a rapper. Then she later on told them that it was Kendrick Lamar. And I hate seeing this because these guys have made records together. Kendrick Lamar collaborated with Drake on Take Care and they made Poetic Justice. Why were they not sharing these allegations of each other back then, but now when it's benefiting them to get the #1 hip hop spot, they're all coming to light? A real victim in this is anybody who's had to go through domestic abuse or anyone that's had to deal with a real predator in real life. This ain't shit to just be playing with, but we all know the real winner in this, J. Cole. That nigga somewhere on the beach. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this beef so far. Bro, this big?
Nah, he was spitting, bro. Actually, that's what we got if he can take from him, man. Like, all those allegations coming out, man. They compete for the top spot, Kendrick and Drake, man. But J. Cole, he saw this coming a mile away. I remember people, they were clowning on him when he left, when he said he was exiting this beef. But now, they seeing this stuff. I've seen a lot of takes of people been saying, like, oh no, J. Cole, he made the right decision, just saying, I'm out. This ain't for me. Sometimes you just gotta know when to leave. You got to.
Drake is catching strays on live television. This man called Drake a what? Watch this, bro.
Questions tonight about a security guard who was shot outside the mansion of the rapper. Rapper, I should say, Drake in Toronto.
Now this guy's pretty wild for saying it on live television. And this guy's basically made it clear that he is Team Kendrick. But the fact that this dude said it on live television with no hesitation, a lot of people are saying that this is a Freudian slip. Now a lot of people are confused. What the hell is a Freudian slip? And basically, a Freudian slip is an unintentional error regarded as revealing subconscious feelings. Now, I personally don't think this was a Freudian slip. This guy did it on purpose. Because you guys need to understand, when you're talking for the news, you actually have to read off a screen. You do realize that, right? So now, I personally think two things happened. When he was reading off the screen, he probably saw both words, and he was like, wait, do I say both? So he said both. Or, this guy genuinely had a Freudian slip and just completely said both words. And it's now up on live television. No, but like, imagine Drake's face when he sees this. He's like, what did the news guy just call me? Now, but this rapper beef is genuinely crazy. I didn't think it would go this far. Now, but generally, what are you guys? Team Kendrick or Team Drake?
Down below. Let me know, man. What the hell is that? That's Drake? Oh yeah, this is old concert or something. What the is going on? Okay. What the? I don't have no words. I didn't know what to expect when I saw that clip. I'll have y'all takes down below.
Lamont be getting crazy. It say Drake security guard has been seriously injured in a shooting that had happened at his Toronto mansion. That is crazy, bro. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is ridiculous, bro. Look at all these disses. They going back and forth. Back and forth. I don't even think Tupac and Biggie had these many disses, bro. Euphoria, that gotta be number one. That jump was a banger. That jump gotta be number one. But look at the Hot Pot 6. He just dropped that and it's ranked number 8. Bruh, Not Like Us number 2 by Kendrick Lamar. Meet the Grams. Bruh,
Family Matter.
Bruh, this is crazy. This is crazy, bruh. Like, people getting injured. But right now, I'm gonna have to get a crown to Kendrick. You know what I'm saying, man? His bars, you know what I'm saying? Drake got his stuff. You know his bars too and stuff. But nah, he not on Kendrick level. I'm sorry, bruh. I'm sorry. I don't know what's gonna make him come back from this. Everybody say he took an L. I say he took an L. It is what it is. Y'all like, comment on this video. Share this video too, y'all. Share this video. You feel?
What do you guys think? Who took the L, Kendrick or Drake?
You're the only person who knows what I'm going through. How do you handle the entire internet calling you a PDF file, Diddy?
Did you tell everyone you didn't do it?
Yeah, I made a whole song about it, told everyone I'm too famous to be a PDF file.
Can't believe that didn't work.
It didn't work at all. They just shut my house up afterwards.
Been there. They'll do and say anything to take you out. They said I drug people and take advantage of them. Did you finish all your champagne, by the way?
Yeah.
And they said I videotaped it. But you gotta stay strong through it all, Drake.
Thanks, Diddy. You're a good friend. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling...
And action. Take this, take this.
What the?
I can't do this alone. I need your help. He disrespected my family's name. Please, I need to know what you know. Do-do-do-do.
Is that supposed to be not the guy who...
This 16-year-old was sentenced to 50 years in prison, and you won't believe what he did. In 2022, Noah Nay shot a 5-year-old girl in the neck and shoulder in Oklahoma. This teen, who I swear looks like a 9-year-old, was riding in a stolen car and purposely shot inside a home where the little girl was playing. But again, this was no accident. No one did this for a gang initiation. Luckily, the little girl survived, but had the bullet hit a spot an inch away, she would have definitely died. Noah was arrested, but not long after, he escaped the juvenile detention center by jumping a fence. He was found 4 days later, but when he was put back into the detention center, he repeatedly assaulted staff. Noah was sentenced as an adult, but the judge said that in 2028, his sentence can be reduced if he's proved that he's changed.
Imagine getting stood up for a day and it causes you to become a key part of a murder trial. It was 2012 in Kentucky and Shayna Hoopers was 21 years old. She had just graduated from the University of Kentucky and was dating 29-year-old Ryan Poston. Ryan was an attorney and the pair was said to be very toxic. They'd been together for about 1.5 years but were very on and off. On the night of October the 12th, things would end for good. Those close to Ryan knew he wasn't happy. He tried ending things with Shayna multiple times, but she refused to accept this. She would turn up to his house, refuse to leave, and they would end up getting back together.
Toxic.
On the 12th of October, the pair were having food at Ryan's parents' house, and they would end up in another argument. Ryan decided to end things once and for all, and to prove to Shayna that he was over her, he decided to go on a date with another woman the next night. The woman was the stunning Audrey Bolt, who was the current Miss Ohio. Audrey and Ryan had arranged to go to a bar the night after at 9:30 p.m. Audrey was really looking forward to it and was very confused when he never showed up. Meanwhile, Shayna had turned up to Ryan's house again without warning. After another massive argument, she took one of his guns and shot him 6 times. She then decided to call police to confess. Now, while she was being interviewed by police, she was acting incredibly bizarre. She twirled around the room and sang, "I did it, yeah, I killed him." She also sang Amazing Grace. Shayna tried to claim that she acted in self-defense, but she was found guilty of murder and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Audrey had to testify in the murder trial. However, in August 2016, Shayna was actually granted a new trial. This was because it was revealed that one of the original jurors was actually a felon. She was again found guilty though in her retrial and was sentenced to life.
The baby-faced...
Man, that's just a sign. If you guys ain't a toxic relationship, man, just try to end it all because it can turn into something even worse, man.
gangster that shot a little girl in the neck has been jailed for 50 years after a court heard that he knows the difference between right and wrong, but has no amenability to treatment. Noah Ney was sentenced as an adult for the 2022 shooting that saw the teen drive a stolen car and fire a gun towards the house in which the little girl was playing, hitting her in the neck and shoulder. It has been reported that his actions were part of the requirements for a gang initiation.
An American couple married for 75 years. They had one wish in common, a wish that shocked everyone. Jeanette, 96, and Alexander, 95. They started dating at the age of 8, were officially married in 1940, and live in San Diego, Calif. They have 5 sons and daughters and 16 grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Some time ago, Alexander suffered an accidental fall that fractured his hip, and he was confined to his bed at home. He used a special bed. It was placed next to his wife Janet's bed. Soon after, Alexander lost interest in life and became weak. On this day, June 29th, Alexander lay in Janet's arms. The daughter informed her mother that her father had died. Janet said sadly, with tears in her eyes, "This is your wish, to pass away in my arms. I love you. Wait for me. Soon we will meet again." Surprisingly, what's on the calendar for June 29th, 75 years ago today? It was the day they were married. The next morning, their daughter found out. Her mother had also passed away peacefully. It turned out that their common wish was to pass away happily together in an embrace. Follow me. Get more true stories every day.
That is like a story that we can leave without coincidence, man. Like, that was their one true wish, and it happened like just a day after each other, man. They were together that long. That's how they wanted to go out. That's really bizarre.
Here's every character I think that's going to be in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. If you remember at the end of the movie, Abby ends up asking Mike, "Hey, when are we going to go back to see my friends? I want to see them." And Mike says, "You never know what's going to happen." Now, in my opinion, this movie's going to be based at least 5 to 15 years in the future. Now, hear me out. For following the plans of Five Nights at Freddy's 2 as a game, we have to go into the withered characters, because they've been untouched, unmaintenanced, and unloved for so long. We're going to be seeing withered characters in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Maybe not 15 years in the future, I may have dragged it a bit, maybe 3 to 5 years in the future. And as you guys know, all of the withered characters are a little bit more devious. And why are they more devious? Because these kids have been left alone for so long. They loved Abby, they loved hanging out with her. Yes, they wanted to kill her, but still. Withered Freddy, withered Chica, look at Bonnie, she doesn't have a face. Withered Foxy, Golden Freddy. Also think we're going to be seeing the puppet as well, aka Mike's little brother. So hear me out, I'm going to be the first one to say it. When we get a Five Nights at Freddy's 2, we are going to get withered characters. It's going to be based at least 3 to 5 years in the future. Just look at withered Bonnie. Imagine Abby pulls up, getting ready to see her friends, and all of a sudden sees Bonnie. My other theory is that they are going to be pissed. They've been left alone for way too long and miss their friend. And that is what's going to drive this next movie to be absolutely insane. Like and follow for more.
Yeah, this nightmare is real, and planes are literally flipping over when passengers get up from their seats. A flight attendant for JetBlue had to issue an emergency announcement, making everyone realize their worst nightmares had come true on the plane, with one woman leaving a grim and dark message saying she wasn't sure if she'd ever see her grandkids again. The flight attendant asked all passengers to spread out as their weight was believed to be causing the plane to flip over, telling everyone to move to the middle of the plane.
Very slowly, little by little, move towards the middle of the apron because apparently everything is like it tipped out.
With a tech expert saying this was so terrifying, he described it as the plane was about to do a backflip.
It felt like the plane was about to do a backflip.
Which begs the question of how safe are these planes to begin with. Many of the passengers had rushed to the rear of the plane when deplaning, which caused this, but there's still many questions which JetBlue does not have the answers for. While no one was injured, we don't know if this is something that can happen to all planes or if it's rare.
See how this fake thug reacted to a life sentence. In 2015, Jaleel Smith Riley was arrested for his involvement in a 2013 robbery that left Aaron Martin with a bullet in his head and Portia Brooks dead. Smith Riley pled guilty to the crime and was hoping to avoid a life without parole sentence. Prior to being sentenced, he cried and begged for leniency.
Consequences, man. The fake thug, bro.
His grandfather also spoke on his behalf.
He always come by to check on me and his grandmother. He always did. He worked in the church with us all.
When the judge spoke, Riley Smith didn't like what he heard.
Court defendant serve a term of life without parole. As to count 4, offense of attempted murder.
Check it out.
This heartless thug will die in prison.
Hey man, you have to deal with the consequences. If you wanna be about that life, you gotta know what comes with it.
One of the most disgusting shock videos on the internet explained. I'm explaining this off memory and other people's comments. There is no way I watch this video again because it's that gross. The video is 1 minute long, and as it starts, you hear a piano track over the video and you see 2 girls making out. But at around 10 seconds in, it gets absolutely sickening. One of the girls gets a glass cup and defecates in it, filling it all the way to the top. A jump cut then occurs and it shows the 2 women licking the feces in the cup like it's ice cream. It cuts again and it shows one of the girls rubbing the feces around her mouth, and the video then cuts again, and it shows the 2 girls making out with feces in their mouth and all over their faces. The next scene, one of the girls sticks her fingers down her throat trying to make herself vomit into the glass as the other girl licks it. The next scene, it shows one of the girls standing up and the other one is on her knees. The one standing up then pukes directly onto the face of the girl on her knees. The final scene shows both girls completely covered in feces as it's even overflowing their mouths. And this is where the video finally concludes. This video is absolutely sickening, and when I tell you not to watch it, don't watch it. I know I say that for all the videos I cover, but this one isn't brutal or gory. It's just plain out disgusting, and you really just don't want to see it. You can watch reactions on YouTube of people watching this for the first time. Joe Rogan even has his reaction video up from years ago.
Hey guys, do you remember Adam Johnson, the hockey player who suffered the fatal cut to his neck in a hockey game on October the 28th? Well, the player whose skate caused the injury has actually been arrested and charged with manslaughter. This is Matt Petgrave, probably not saying that right, but he is the player whose skate caused the injury to Johnson's neck. And news out today is saying that he has been arrested and charged with the manslaughter of Adam Johnson. Now, initially, I was kind of shocked at this news. All of the footage that I saw, I did not think that it was intentional. But then, when you go back and you watch the replay in slow motion, that kind of changes things. Apparently, the hockey world and all of the hockey fans have been waiting on this to come. I'm going to add a clip in here that shows when the injury occurred during that hockey game, and you'll watch it through in regular time first, and then it will be played in slow motion, and I'm curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are. You can see it happens quickly there, but watch it in slow motion where Petgrave is in the red, he comes across and intentionally kicks that leg up, which slashes Johnson's neck and results in his death.
Here's how all of the missing children from the Five Nights at Freddy's movie passed away and became the animatronics. Well, as you guys know, little backstory, these kids ended up going to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They all ended up disappearing in, I'm pretty sure, 1984, all because of William Afton. He wanted to run some experiments and see if he was able to combine children's souls with these animatronics. And let's just say he did his damn thing. Up first is Freddy. It is said that Freddy's original character was unalived by hiding, which kind of makes sense because you never really see Freddy doing any wild shit. I mean, you see him, but he's always kind of just like lurking or pretending to be still. Then have Foxy, said to be the soul of one of the kids that was running, hence the reason Foxy is always so fast and always running. We also have to take into the account the kid in the orange, who has Foxy's hook, and literally starts sprinting as soon as Mike gets too close. Then have Chica, who's said to have the embodiment of one of the kids that was screaming. Seems as though you always see Chica when she jump scares people in the games is she's screaming, which kind of makes sense. Then have Bonnie, who's said to be after one of the kids that fought back. He obviously didn't win. That shows why Bonnie's always so brawling. Then you have Golden Freddy, who's said to be the souls of 2 children. Which is supposed to be someone named Cassidy, but in the movie it's Mike's little brother. That's the theory. Like and follow for more.
Oh no.
Those theories are crazy.
No. I had thought that
that I had seen everything when it came to cults, but you are not prepared for what this cult believes. So HBO just released this documentary about the Love Is One cult, which was run by this woman, Amy Carlson, who calls herself Mother God. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but she believed she was controlled by the spirit of Robin Williams, and this like yassified version of Saint Germain. Also, I cover a lot of dark stuff on this page, so you should follow along. She also said she could channel and get advice from this like galactic federation of dead celebrities. There's like Mr. Rogers, Carrie Fisher, Steve Irwin, and randomly Donald Trump, who is not dead. But Robin Williams is at the top, and so the cult believes they're getting a lot of advice through Robin Williams, so they'll say things like, so one of the beliefs that this cult has is that one day Robin Williams is going to arrive in a spaceship to take Mother God away so that she can spiritually ascend. He also told her that she can only be 103 pounds to get on the spaceship, which is why she's trying to lose a lot of weight. Eventually, Mother God starts getting sicker and sicker, and also bluer and bluer because of the colloidal silver supplements they won't stop giving her, and everyone thinks, oh my god, Robin Williams must be coming on a spaceship really soon to help Mother ascend. Eventually, she passes away, and guess what? Shockingly, Robin Williams does not descend in an intergalactic spaceship to come collect the 103-pound body of Mother God. And so the cult members just have her body. They don't know what to do with it. They thought Robin Williams was going to come. So they hang out with it for 12 days until the police finally show up. Anyways, this whole thing is a trip. You just gotta watch it to believe it. I'm seeing photos.
So we check that out, Seekers, man. People who be getting caught up in those groups, man, they be into some weird things. But to say that they thought Robin Williams was going to come down in a spaceship, that's just one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard watching these videos together with you guys. Be careful, man, of those groups.
Show a 13-year-old boy. Police say he murdered his mother, and before that, he's standing over her in a vulnerable position as he's getting ready to stab her to death. Derek Rosa snapped a selfie after the crime, his hands smeared with blood.
No, I'm not hurt. I just have a little bit of blood on my hand.
I need to know if your mom is breathing.
She's dead, miss.
Okay, and when did you do that?
Blood all over the floor.
Where is your sister? Your sister still there?
She's sleeping.
She's sleeping, okay.
Excuse me, miss, what do I do if she wakes up?
If you wake up, just let me know. I need to know. Do you think we can help your mom?
Miss, she's dead. I took pictures and I told my friends about it with that bag.
You told who about it?
My friends.
Who did you send the pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because he is an online friend, but I play with a lot.
Cell phone video shows the moment a teenage boy surrendered with his hands up.
His demeanor, he was very quiet, apologetic, very respectful. Not what you would expect walking into that home and seeing that crime scene.
The 13-year-old, identified as Derek Rosa, is currently in secure detention. When officers arrived to Unit 201 inside the Amelia Oaks apartment complex, they found the victim in her bedroom with multiple wounds, just inches from her newborn baby girl.
Next to her was a crib. And inside of that crib, a 14-day-old baby that fortunately was not injured.
Places that will disappear in your lifetime. Venice, Italy is a beautiful place, but it will disappear in your lifetime. Venice is slowly sinking.
What?
The canals cause many floods, and these floods are causing Venice to tilt east. Experts say that by 2100 the city will be uninhabitable. The Great Wall of China is amazing, but it will soon be gone. 1/3 of the wall has already been destroyed. This is mainly due to natural damage, for example climate change, but people walking on it and local settlements stealing bricks from it has also damaged the wall badly. Experts say that within decades the wall may be gone. San Francisco is an amazing city. It's known for earthquakes, but in 2016 geologists found something scary. They found 2 earthquake fault lines underneath the San Francisco Bay. This could destroy San Francisco, and there's a 75% chance this could happen before 2086. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia is one of the most amazing things in the world, but it won't be around for much longer. It's already decreased more than 50% of its original size, and lots of the vibrant coloured corals are now turning white. Some believe the Great Barrier Reef may disappear by 2030.
Damn, that's just in a couple of years. What the hell? All these places, man, that's about to disappear. I gotta see them before they go, man. The Great Wall, Venice, Italy. Hey, man, I want to travel. What the hell? I'm gonna have to put that on my list.
This is one of the worst true crime cases I ever covered, and this is a massive trigger warning. In 2007, the boy on the right named Gabriel Kuhn, who was 12 years old, was killed by Daniel Petrie, who was 16, and on the left. Daniel Petrie and Gabriel Kuhn became good friends and began playing an online role-playing game called Tibia. At one point of the game, Gabriel asked Daniel for 20,000 virtual cash to clear the stage. Gabriel borrowed money from Daniel to use in the game and then refused to pay him back. Gabriel then blocked Daniel on everything, and this made him furious, and he went to Gabriel's house to pay him a visit. A couple of days before the murder, Daniel called the home phone of Gabriel, and his mom answered. She explained that she would be out of town and that her son would be home alone if they wanted to play, completely unaware of the boys falling out. And on August 23rd, 2007, Daniel went to Gabriel's house and knocked on the door. Nobody answered, and Daniel kept knocking, but eventually Gabriel started speaking to Daniel through the door. Daniel told Gabriel to unlock the door and let him in, and if he apologized to him, everything would be fine. Believing this, Gabriel unlocked the door and let Daniel in. And after entering the house, Daniel locked the door behind him. Daniel then brutally assaulted Gabriel. Gabriel tried his best to defend himself, but he failed to do so. Daniel was older, bigger, and stronger. Gabriel was dripping in blood after being brutally beaten by Daniel. Daniel then laughed at the terrified Gabriel and took him to the bedroom, where he then sexually assaulted him. Gabriel cried, but this made Daniel even more cruel. After all of this, Gabriel threatened Daniel, saying he will tell his mother everything that happened, but this only made Daniel more mad. And in a fit of rage, Daniel took a cord from a gaming console and wrapped it around Gabriel's neck and strangled him with it until he went limp. Daniel assumed Gabriel was dead, and believing this, Daniel tried to move and hide the body in the crawl space, leading to the bedrooms. However, the body was too heavy, and after realizing this, Daniel searched the house for sharp tools, and eventually he found a kitchen knife and a hacksaw. Daniel then returned to Gabriel's body, and in order to make it lighter, he took the knife and hacksaw and began cutting at the top of Daniel's leg to remove it, and as Daniel cut into Gabriel's leg, he woke up. Gabriel wasn't dead. He let out a blood-curdling scream, but Daniel restrained him, making sure to twist and turn the blade to make it even more painful. Eventually, Daniel dismembered his right leg and moved to his left. And after severing both of his legs, Gabriel passed away. His autopsy suggested he was still alive throughout the whole ordeal, and he eventually died from shock and blood loss. After Daniel finished the dismemberment, he tried to hide the body again, and he wrapped a cable and wire around Gabriel's body. But the body was still too heavy, and Daniel then fled the house. Gabriel's body was discovered by his brother, and the body was left by the hallway door and the legs and the hacksaw too. Daniel Petrie was admitted to a juvenile center in September 2007 to only 3 years. This is due to Brazil's laws of sentencing minors. And to make you realize how evil Daniel was, when the judge asked him if he had any last words of remorse, Daniel said this: "Gabriel was a coward and a thief. He burns in hell right now where I sent him. And when I die, I will find him in hell and finish my revenge." It's also worth saying that the photos of the crime and Gabriel's body have surfaced on the internet, and nobody knows how they got there. I highly recommend not to look at them due to the graphic nature of them, and they would definitely be the worst crime scene photos you will ever see. It's honestly insane how Daniel is walking free today. May Gabriel rest in peace.
This is the case of 19-year-old Alexi Treviso and how she went to the hospital complaining of back pain, but ended up getting charged with murder. Alexi Treviso was a 19-year-old senior in high school living in Artesia, New Mexico. She was on the varsity cheerleading team, and she was dating her boyfriend Devin for about 2 years. Honestly, Alexi just seemed like a typical teenage girl. Her prom was coming up soon, her graduation was around the corner, and she was already thinking about what university she was going to go to in the fall. January 26, 2023, that day was pretty much just like any other day for 19-year-old Alexi. She went to cheerleading practice that day and got home in the afternoon. She spent some time with her family and then she went to bed. However, she was woken up in the middle of the night with severe back pain. This was like not normal back pain. Like Alexi was in so much pain that her mother decided to take her to the hospital. Alexi and her mother Rosa arrived at the Artesia General Hospital in the early morning hours of January 27th. Alexi checked in and told the doctors that she had really bad pain in her back, so they wanted to do a test to see if maybe she had a UTI or a kidney infection, since back pain can be a symptom of both of those things. So they're getting ready to do those tests, and then they asked Alexi, "Are you pregnant?" Which is a very common thing to ask. I mean, if you're a girl and you've gone to the doctor before, I feel like they always ask you if you're pregnant. On top of that, experiencing back pain can be a symptom of pregnancy. So the doctor asked Alexi, "Are you pregnant?" And she says no, that she's still a virgin and that she hasn't engaged in any sexual activity. So the doctor's like, okay, perfect. And they send Alexi over to go get a CAT scan done so that they can check for kidney stones. And while she's getting that test done, the doctors decide to still do a pregnancy test just in case, because you never know. So they did a urine test, and when the results came back, they were positive. Alexi was pregnant. Now, of course, pregnancy tests can sometimes be inaccurate, so the doctors wanted to check her blood just to make sure that she was actually pregnant. And while all of this is going on, Alexi tells the doctors that she needs to go to the bathroom. Like, she has to go number 2, and it's coming out, like, right now. So she gets up from the hospital bed and she literally runs to the bathroom holding her butt because she feels like it's going to come out. She locks herself inside the bathroom and she's in there for quite some time. Doctors and the staff at the hospital are getting kind of worried because she's been in there for a while and they know that she's pregnant. So they're thinking maybe she's having some type of miscarriage or something else is happening. They knock on the door, but Alexi refuses to come out. At one point, her mother Rosa also goes over to knock on the door, but Alexi says that she's just having trouble going number 2 and that she'll be out shortly. At this point, Alexi has been in the bathroom for more than like 20 minutes. So the doctors tell her, if you don't open the door right now, we're going to unlock it. Before the doctor can unlock the door, Alexi just opens up and starts walking back to her room. One of the doctors looks inside the bathroom just to see, what happened, and they do see that there was all over the floor. They asked Alexi, what's going on? And she said that she simply got her period. Call over the cleaning lady to come clean up the bathroom, and when she starts to take out the trash, notices that the trash bag feels heavier than usual. So Leela, the housekeeper, goes to look inside the garbage bin, and when she pulls out a bag, she finds a baby. The baby was inside a clear plastic bag at the bottom of the bin. Okay, more in part 2.
Never wake up a sleepwalker.
Do you want me to wake him up?
They're laughing. This ain't funny though.
This girl was freaking out when her sister got out of bed and started sleepwalking.
Stop staring at me like that. Alexis! Mom! Mom!
It's like a spirit takes them over.
She's just standing here staring at me. Relax. Hey. I gotta go. Sienna.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Follow for more.
Reality glitches caught on
Reality
camera.
glitches caught on camera.
This ring in a box. I'm like, oh shit, my ring fell off. No, it didn't. It's the same. I'm shaking. It's so weird.
Whoa.
No.
Okay.
My fear's happening. My fear's happening of not being able to get to my car in a parking garage. There's my car. Yep, okay. If I go down that way, that brings me down. So, I'm walking up. But when I round the corner, nothing. Can somebody please explain to me how I...
Maybe she was on a different level. I'm guessing that can explain it. That's the only way I can explain that because we just saw.
I'm here doing my little thing, making TikToks. I'm looking on my desk and I see this. What the hell is this? What is this? Because it looks like it's my nails, right? Girl, I've got all my nails. And I want to specify, this is the first time I have ever had this design.
So here's another rather
And it just fell out of the sky out of nowhere.
It's famous for mummies, not just any mummies, incredibly naturally well-preserved mummies. Turns out you had to pay a tax on burial plots or your final resting place, whether that be in tunnels or catacombs under the city. And if nobody paid up for you, you were out. What happened was the grave diggers found out if they made a display of these mummies, they could make a bit of money. They could charge for people to come through. People would even take bits of the bodies as souvenirs. It was the original side hustle.
Now it's gone legit, and there's actually a museum housing the mummies. The mysterious thing is why they didn't decompose. Could it be a strange energy source under Guanajuato? Well, people think it was the richness of the soil or the incredibly dry air that made them somehow self-embalm. But it is a little bit of a mystery. Just like the blob, it gets curiouser and curiouser.
Okay.
I'll see you in the comments. Take care.
You definitely saw me. I saw that energy spiraling, man. The map that was showing, so it looks like there was definitely some energy there. I don't know what. I saw that in the mirror. What are those kids doing? Are they practicing for like a drill or something? That was a damn scandal. Were they on the kids? What the? What the hell is that fish doing? It's like regurgitating freaking fish eating fish. I mean, that's not the first time I heard of it, but that was kind of crazy. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate your support. You guys gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.